Hello there, friends and members. Russ Whitney here to bring you another training. And I told you in our last video what I wanted to do with you is I wanted to go through a property example. You know, enough of this stuff where we talk about possibilities and you can do this and you can do that. Let's start with real life examples so you can start to see that, hey, this is something I can do. Now, my co-worker, buddy, and long-term friend, Bill Bean, is sitting in here with me. You're in my office now, obviously. And so he's going to fly some visuals up on the screen as I'm talking. So what I want you to do is one thing to talk about, it's another to see it and bring it to a reality. So what we're going to talk about right now is, first of all, we talked in the last videos about low, moderate, and upper income property. The best place for a beginner or an intermediate to start is in more moderate income properties, residential, a multi-unit residential. So you want a duplex, a triplex, you want a 7-unit building, a 10-unit building. That's what you're looking for. Start with a duplex. And so I have right here a good example. This is one we actually bought, and I'll show you how it works with virtually any multi-unit residential property. Doesn't work so well with a single family. But here's the picture up on the screen, as you can see. Now this is actually I believe it's a 7-unit building. So it has like 4 or 5 apartments in it, 1 or 2 bedroom, and then a couple of them are just small studios. And as you can see, it's run down, beat up shape right now. So as you see on the screen, you see distress. Here's a perfect example, distressed property, motivated seller. So the seller, because the property is run down, he wants to sell it. He's motivated, whether it's a job transfer, a death in the family, or he's just not wanting to be in rental properties anymore, whatever his reason. That's the key, finding a motivated seller. Now, he's asking for this $75,000 because it's run down, beat up shape. He wants a $7,500 down payment. Now, what if we don't have that $7,500? How can we reduce that down payment and still get credit for it? This is the magical stuff that makes real estate investment work that most of these seminars will never show you. You know, just flip this house, flop that house. As I told you in the last videos, those are farther and fewer between. If you get a good deal that comes along, fine, but what we want is a plan. And the plan is build multi-unit residential. Get 10, 20, 30, 40 units where I've got $10,000 or $15,000 a month in net cash flow coming in every month. And that's not difficult if you follow this strategy. We've been teaching this strategy for 30 years. Nothing has changed with real estate over 100 years, other than now we got the benefit of technology. You know, we can get on Zillow. There's all types of real estate sites where we can actually see the property. We don't have to drive out to it. You can see it right on your computer. All right, so the asking price $75,000, down payment $7,500. Now there's $2,000 a month in rents coming in, gross rents. Okay, so whenever we buy an income-producing property, we always arrange our closing for the 3rd day of the month. Now it'll work on the 4th and 5th. The third is the one I always shoot for, and here's why. On the 1st of the month, the seller has to collect the rents, okay? So he collects that $2,000. 2 days later, on the 3rd, ownership transfers to you, so you own the property from the 3rd to the 30th. Well, that means the rents from the 3rd to the 30th are due to be paid to you. Now, this happens right at the closing. The title company generally does it. There's nothing special you have to do other than it's good if you know so you can plan exactly what your outlay might have to be, all right? So, after all expenses, you can see here, so we do our rent roll statement. You take the $2,000, then we deduct tax, insurance, water, sewer, maintenance, vacancy, and if we rent these at that price, our including vacancy ratio, we're gonna have $468 a month in positive cash flow. All right, now that's where we start to build them. Think about doing 6, 7, 8 of these over the next 2 years, and you know what? All of a sudden you're at somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 a month. All right, now, how do we reduce the down payment? Watch this magic. You take the rent's $2,000, okay? Simply divide that by 30 days in a month. So if you take $2,000 divided by 30, that's $66.67 a day. If you close on the 3rd now and 27 days belong to you, you take the 66 times 27. That means the seller has to pay you $1,800 at the closing. Even though you're buying the property, he has to pay you. All right, now, what most people don't get is if there's $2,000 a month in rents, what would the security deposits be? Well, probably $2,000. If you're just getting first and last, if you're getting first, last, and a security deposit, it's that much more. Let's just take the conservative approach. $2,000 in security deposit. Now the seller has to pay me the other $2,000 at the closing. So that means even though I'm offering the $7,500 down, the seller's got to pay me $3,800. So my down payment is almost reduced in half, and I still get credit for the entire $3,800. All right, now, let's just say you go through the Building Wealth Home Study course on our membership site. All right, this lays this all out for you, so you can go over it 10 times if that's what you need to get it. But this is critical. So let's say you use one of our loan techniques, hard money, signature loan. So let's say you borrowed $5,000, okay, to buy this property. You use the prorations, so you get a $3,800 credit at the closing. That means you come up with no money, and the seller has to pay you $1,200 at the close. You literally bought this property for no money down. So the point I want to make to you is, when you hear this no money down, that doesn't necessarily mean that the seller doesn't get any money. What it means is it's none of your money. We use these types of strategies to reduce down payments. And this happens in every day, every city in the United States, every single day of the week. All right, so now what do? Take a look at that. We fix the property up. Now, you can see a significant difference there. What we want to do again is the least amount of work that gives us the most amount of cosmetic improvement. When you watch HGTV, although it's fun to watch, you think about ripping out cabinets and tearing down walls and putting in toilet. Major renovation is for a much more experienced person. Can you make money doing it? Yes. Starting out, you don't want to do all that. You want the least amount of work that gives you the most amount of cosmetic improvement and appreciation in the property. And that's generally paint, cleanup, landscape, gingerbreading, just like you see. All right, now you can see after this, after we fixed it up 7 months later, as you can see, we got an appraisal for $130,000. So all those cosmetic improvements increased the value of the property. And that part is called forced appreciation. We don't wait for the market to go up. That's, any idiot can do that. We want to force the value. We want to get in control of the value. And that's exactly what we did here. As you can see then, you have a couple of options. You can either sell the property, so we only owe how much? Well, we bought it for $75,000. We got a $7,500 credit at the closing. We only have to come up with $68,000. Now, we sell the property, or we can get a home improvement loan and pull some equity out where it becomes tax deferred. You can get a home improvement loan and pull some money out. And again, although we're going through this a little quickly here, you should be able to grasp it. But remember that this is all covered in the Building Wealth Home Study course on our membership site. And those of you watching, this may be the last video. We may do one more, but this may be the last video if you're a non-member that you're going to get. And so I would suggest that you go to, Bill, where would they have to go to?
RussWhitney.online.
Okay, go to RussWhitney.online. And you can try the membership site out for $1. We give you a 14-day trial. And after that, it goes to $39 a month. And you can opt out anytime you want if you're not getting value. But I doubt you'll do that. All right, so as you can see, we got an appraisal for $130,000. What we did is we refinanced the property. Now we went back to the bank. We got an 80% loan where the bank gave us $106,000. We pay off the $68,000 to the seller, and we walk out of this closing with $38,000 within about a 3-month period. So, folks, we got in for literally nothing. These deals are out there in abundance in every city and town in the United States every day of the week. So I hope that this kind of realistic example is giving you an idea that, holy crap, maybe I can do this. Now, let me tell you a little story. We have a number of students. One of them, Virgil Clunder, went through our training, young guy, and he did a couple of duplexes, and he realized that, wow, I have business savvy. I just bought a property. I learned how to do my profit and loss, which is my rent roll statement less my expenses. I had to rent the properties. I had to clean them up. That's a whole business in and of itself. You just bought and sold the business. He went out, and you've probably seen the show on TV. It's called The Locator on A&E, where there's a couple of guys, one of them is Virgil, bring adopted kids back to their birth parents. And usually those records are sealed. Well, he was an adopted kid, and he figured out how to get to those records and bring families back together. And he made a home study course out of it. He's been on Oprah Winfrey. He's been on Sally Jesse Raphael years ago, all the talk shows, because this is a public interest story. And he built a business that was probably worth the millions. He sold it out for somewhere in the neighborhood, if I remember correctly, $40 or $50 million. Then he started another company called Sugar Bears. If you go online and look at it, Sugar Bears is where he imported these they're like flying squirrels, but they bond to the owner. And that business is generating something like $40 million a year. You go onto our membership site, you'll see Virgil telling his story with numbers of other of our members who have joined and follow our strategies, who are making literally millions of dollars in all types of businesses, not just real estate. So remember, another part of this is we're going to teach you business scaling as well, how to start a business, what's the best business for you to get into, what is a business that costs the least amount of money that will give you the most amount of return. And I think we'll open your eyes to a lot of other possibilities besides just real estate investing. But this is a great way to start and just get your confidence. So I hope this one helped you. Stay tuned for the next training that I'll be bringing to you.